Log recording. 5:07 at the night. Not quite there yet, is it? Still Pacific Standard Time. Still the 3rd of June, 2023. We were John C. Roseman, California. Trying to do something political, and I got into a just got into a tangent at this point. Oh, God, I got nailed. I woke up from an afternoon nap. The depression was kicking in left and right. I've already been triggered somehow. Many times, I guess, and I was trying to ignore the damn thing. But still, when the triggers hit, they hit, and I went over the deep end again. Earlier on in this town, right by our Foster's Freeze, we actually had the local county animal shelter doing some adoptions for a few hours, and they hated the sun. Morons. I hope some of those dogs got adopted out. There was no way I would have been able to bring one of those dogs over here just walking him on the damn hot cement. No way in hell. He's crying about it, though. It's just seeing the dogs and then seeing something else like a trigger after trigger after trigger after trigger. Here comes the roller coaster. And then after I get a few sessions going on, go on the internet, and I go through Facebook, yeah, there's the grieving stuff. Here comes the doggy stuff. Then I get on YouTube, and here comes the zeros and ones political game. Oh, God. Pull up one for Jesse Dollarmore, and I go insane over this one. Concerning about a schmuck who's claiming to be a preacher of some sort and telling people about Jesus being intolerant towards lepers and whores and harlots and everything else like that. Jesus is not what Jesus was supposed to be or tied to us. I'm like, oh my God. I'm having a conniption fit on this shit. The zeros and ones we get programmed with these days, I swear. And I can't get past this damn stuff. I'm trying to put in different things left and right. Well, last night I was hearing some music from the 1960s or the Vietnam era. I came across one channel on that one and just listened to it for a short time. It put me back. Mentally, it put me into a stage where I was listening to this thing and I was thinking, my brother and I listened to this damn thing, but I didn't feel the trigger effect. I didn't feel the roller coaster kicking in. I didn't feel a damn thing about it. Just listening to some of the music, at least some of it anyway. So I decided to start saving several sites that I'll be visiting from time to time just to listen to the 60s. Growing up, that's what I'd listen to. Guess that was the time I was growing up in. I'd listen to it on the radio as a young kid. It was filtering through my developing brain. Sometimes I had tunes in there that I didn't recognize what the hell they were. Get older. My brother and I would be doing traveling. We'd have a radio. We'd be blaring the music, and someone else would be blaring sometimes the same channel. We'd be listening to the same tune. If my brother was actually allowed to drive a car, got older. We still listened to the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s. We couldn't stand the music after that. Sometimes the 50s and 40s, 30s, 20s. Try to be eclectic about a lot of things, you know. Big band era. I remember being... Oh, it's like being Clockwork Orange without having those braces on the eyes, just constantly watching this stuff that my brother would pull out from on me for the family. Glenn Miller, Benny Goodman. Maybe a few others that would be playing big band. Not to mention when Grandma and Aunt May were alive and I was still a young kid. Oh, we'd listen to the big band right there. Polka music sometimes. It's time to dance with the polka, the one and the two, and wonderful, wonderful. Oh my God, I listened to this damn thing like crazy. I kept asking myself, why am I doing this? Because the two ladies grew up in that era, were listening to it. I'm like, it's a good thing right after this, a Space 1999, I get to watch something myself. And then I get to listen to the music on it. Barry Davis, who did the music for the Space 1999, also did for Gary Anderson's productions, the Marionette productions out there, and the music that he would was signatures for different shows, and some of them are really like their Sousa style, with emphasis on the horns and the percussion. I'd hear this thing like crazy and suck it up in my head. I'd watch Space 1999, as I said before, and I'd listen to the works of Barry Davis. I'd just go on a YouTube, Google for this one, both of them, and you can find selections of it. It sounded like the music should have been on theatrical films because it came out that way. Except year two, they had a different crew altogether and screwed things up left and right. Oh my God, I couldn't deal with it. I could deal with number one, I couldn't deal with number two. Disjointed, and I could deal with it. Yeah, listening to the music sometimes would put me in different stages left and right. Either I'm appreciating or I'm having flashbacks of family and stuff like that. And sometimes I have to be put into that stage just to appreciate things, appreciate what was. I'd seen too many memes on social media, especially Facebook. Always on Facebook. And you can't stay in the past. You gotta let go of the past. You gotta keep going forward. You gotta keep going forward. You gotta keep going forward. Forward, 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 forward. In order to deal with tomorrow, it has to be dealt with today, which already the cobblestones and our mistakes and our accomplishments have already been made yesterday by those who preceded us, the ones who started it all the way up to our time, even our own beginning time, all the way up to the point we have right now. And then with what we have right now, we got to build something for tomorrow. So the past does matter, and so does the present, and so does the future. I don't care how many people keep telling me about that one. It's crazier than shit, but you know what? I'm dealing with it on a constant basis at this point over here. They don't like it. I don't care. I'm dealing with my own situation right now as it is, and I have to function. And my function right now is dealing with what I've got. I can listen to the music and I can think about different television shows, but also I can think about the times that I lived in. I can also think about what the hell happened in neighborhoods I've been in, or in different trips that I've been with my family. The movie Big Chill, when it came out, my brother and I didn't see the theatrical on the screen, the large screen anyway, but the smaller screen we did. And for a long while, we'd watch it when it comes out. It wasn't just the acting. We were listening to the music of the times. It was supposed to have been 63, 64 that the artists were there. And my brother and I got accustomed and used to the art, to the music during those times. Not to mention the rhythm and blues they had during that time. And it was important to us to remember. It was important to us to have those good feelings about what the music meant to us. Because in other occasions, just wasn't happening these days. We got today in our time right now, 2023, and I don't hear it, I don't feel it, and I sure as hell miss the music of the old. The older I get, the more I appreciate what the hell I lost a long time ago. I wish I could have relived it back again, but I can't. I mean, the memories I can still try to drudge up. Try to drudge up the feelings, what I thought about it, especially when I get triggered left and right. Certain times, certain years, certain musics, certain mentalities. You get older, you get a different perspective, and you're trying to identify it with the youth, and the youth don't have it just yet because they're too immature. They're going through their own stages, their own phases, their own levels, and we hear it, and it's like, what the hell is this shit? Our own ideas of what the world should be like are totally different when each generation is. And I'm just not quite sure how the hell to deal with it all. I'm doing the best I can for right now. That's all I can do. I keep telling myself that. And at other times, I'm not doing it. I can listen to the music of Benny Goodman and Glenn Miller for primary. I can listen to Danny Kaye and his crooning all the time. I wasn't exactly hip on the Rat Pack at the time, of the 40s, 50s, and 60s. The sultry tunes and the voices that they had. I recognized them. Sometimes it just, yeah. I'm sorry, I couldn't get into them during those days. It just wasn't it for me. So I'm still coping with what is and what was. Some musics I can actually deal with and enjoy these days. I can. And understand that that's alright. It's alright to appreciate the things back then that we actually liked. They may have hard times, but if there were good times, we can still remember, revisit, relive in our heads. Music does that on some occasions. Tells us and shows us how things are complicated and convoluted. As things right now weren't complicated and convoluted and insane. Yeah, yeah. I feel okay. I feel okay. As long as I got the music in me. I'm not a musician, but I love music anyway. Hell, there's even Russian ballets. I'd like to listen to the music on some occasions. And there was also something from China and Japan. Something about the tunes and how they were played. Not the Americanized versions, but what they had. I can remember the 15th, 16th centuries when the music was coming out. You had these composers trying to give us something that we'd never heard before. Depth, passion, eternity. There were certain musics that had to be played with certain pieces of equipment. Was it Bach Sriracha? No, 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 no. 1 second here. All right, there's a bit of music that I'd listen to a great deal. And I'm going to see if I can try finding that. Because this would be under classical. And if I can find a little darling. Alright, let's see. Xvid. X, 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 Fed. There we go. Where's the box? Where's the box? It's not here. Well, that's depressing as hell. Give me a second here. I'll pull it up. Oh. Okay. Frederick Megel? Really? I know he did one particular version of it. I know other people have been doing the versions of it. Alrighty. Let me get it. Let me get it here. There's one piece of music that you'd hear off of one particular video game, but man, did it ring! And hold on, what do we got? I need here. Bach, Toccata, and Fugue in D minor. A little taste of that one there. Bach. Listened to his music back in junior high, but I couldn't get into it. Some musics I got into. John Williams, when he was a composer still active at the time, when he was really getting his feet wet into the business. I mean, hell, he did Jaws, he did Star Wars. Everybody could do the Star Wars theme in their head. Could they ever do Ben-Hur, the overture? 1959 movie with Charlton Heston in it. This is the overture. Now this I could be playing in my head. I'd seen the movie so many times. And it was passion. We are talking passion. This was done by Miklos Rosa. Just a few classic pieces here. They're incomplete. Well, the whole thing is complete, but I'm not going to be drowning on that one. One more. One more. Bear with me. This was on Space 1999, done by Barry Davis. First season. It was about, oh, it was called The Domain of Dragons. Okay. Just to get you a sampling of what I usually listened to a long time ago as a kid. And the music would stick in my head on this. The music would royally stick in my head on this. Because it meant something. It actually did. Those are the kind of things I remembered growing up as a kid. Because I'd listen to it on the television. And if I actually had a soundtrack, I'd listen to it like crazy. Sometimes you just need to get yourself a little bit of that into you somehow. As painful as it is sometimes, because it will be bringing up the memories. I know it's been bringing up memories of me. I'd watch the shows that I'd see the music on it. I remember seeing the shows when my family was alive. But I also remember watching some of the shows when they're not here. The thing is concerning about grieving, sometimes we don't want the emotional triggers because we're already having a hard time as it is, and the music sometimes music becomes that trigger on occasions. Or it becomes the relief valve for us. And I'm appreciative of it. Meanwhile, sun's waning fast. And it's all right. It's all right.